Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in a Factor Follow-Up segment tonight, defending Bill Cosby. As you know, he's charged with aggravated indecent sexual assault in Pennsylvania. If convicted, the 78-year-old comedian could spend the rest of his life in prison. It all depends on how his defense attorneys conduct the case, how effective they are. With us now, attorneys and Fox News analysts, Kimberly Guilfoyle and Lisa Wheel. Okay, Will, you're defending Cosby.
Right.
You're his lead defense attorney. His life's on the line. All right, what do you do?
Pre-trial, before the trial even starts, I get the allegations from these other women excluded, so the jury doesn't even hear that.
All right, wait, let me stop you.
Under the evidence rules.
There have been other women in civil suits, not criminal, civil suits, who alleged that Cosby drugged them and then had sex with them. You say that you're going to get all of those...
All of them.
Thrown out.
How? The jury will not hear from these either civil cases, A, and B, you cannot, under the rules of evidence, bring in prior bad acts to prove that he did something else on that day, the day of the allegation, that was bad. Stop.
Do you agree with that you can't bring in a alleged criminal history, all right, even if it's on the record somewhere, to prove another crime?
To prove, in fact, that he's guilty of this crime, no. However, under the rules of evidence, if you can show to the court and persuade the judge that these show a certain pattern or M.O., this is the way he does it, giving the alcohol, giving the drugs, plying the women so they're unable to give consent.
But that would, then you would be disagreeing with him.
That's not true. It can come in. I've used it many times, and it's very probative.
So you're disagreeing with Ms. Wheel.
However, I think she's right that it would be considered highly prejudicial, and although it would be relevant to show a pattern of conduct, they would exclude it because it might be too prejudicial, and they would make him guilty because of it.
Stop. So it's up to the judge to say if the prosecution can reference other civil suits to try to prove Cosby guilty of this crime.
Correct.
It all depends on the judge.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
But if the judge says you can let them in, that's immediate appeal, immediate chaos. Right?
There's a specific jury instruction that'll go along with it that you're not to consider it to say that, in fact, he committed this crime in this particular case.
But come on.
Only to say that this is a pattern of conduct that has been used. But you think about it, how can you not have bleed over?
All right, okay, so that's number one. So I'm not convinced that this judge is going to go along with what you say.
This is all pre-trial now. Let me get to trial as well. Pre-trial also get that civil deposition, that 2005 deposition, where he admits to giving quaaludes to this woman. I get that excluded. Now, here's why. A, again, it's civil. Okay, I'm going to try. A, it's civil, and B, you could only admit that evidence if the person who is saying it is not available in the courtroom. Cosby's sitting right there. He's available. You can't bring that evidence in.
Do you disagree with that?
Respectfully, I'm going to tell you that you can also say that it is a statement against interest when made at the time that the person would be suffering either kind of criminal, civil, or pecuniary damage by admitting that statement. And you could say, listen, you can admit this. It's what I would argue to the judge for the truth of the matter asserted, meaning that he in fact did these things because he made this statement.
So again, it's the judge that's going to have to decide.
I think I'm going to win on that one, but it's the judge.
All right, now, this woman who is now the focus of the crime, who was at, I guess it was Temple, right, University?
Right.
All right, and she was knew Cosby and alleges that Cosby sexually assaulted her.
Andrea Cosby.
She settled with, took money from Cosby, okay, to settle this case. But the DA did investigate it back in 2005 and found there wasn't enough evidence, correct?
Correct, but the DA didn't have the things that we were just talking about now.
Right, you didn't have the admission in the civil case.
Exactly, did not have that.
Can you then, if you settle a civil case, and I assume there was, look, I'll give you the amount of money, but you don't talk about it anymore.
Of course,
assume that's what all civil cases do. Then you come right back. Is that?
Well, right.
You can still open a criminal case, though, because there's new evidence.
The criminal case is totally separate and distinct. However, you're saying, can you use the fact that he settled the case to show that this was something he did, again, against his interests? And why would you settle a case? It was like the Michael Jackson cases. Why do you settle a case civilly if you weren't guilty? But there can be a lot of reasons. That, I think, would be considered too prejudicial, be excluded for the jury's consideration.
So the jury won't even hear about the civil case?
But guess what?
pre-trial.
Okay, just stop.
Right.
If the jury doesn't hear
Facts.
about the civil
They
case,
can't consider it.
they can't have the deposition for Cosby.
Nothing. They can't consider anything about that case.
So you both think that the jury's not going to be able to
That's
hear
true.
the
I'm
defense
sorry if
case?
I'm
You
the
can
defense
split
lawyer.
this up.
You can split it up.
You can split it up. You can say you're not going to be able to discuss any monetary settlement, what the outcome of this litigation was, but specific statements could be excised from the record, from those depositions, to
Again,
show
I'd
a
argue
statement against this
prejudicial
You
outward
can argue it, but if
Bottom
any of
line
that
on
comes
this
in,
is,
he's in trouble.
this is no slam dunk.
No, it's not.
No, Cosby could get off on
And
this.
it's a he said, she said.
Wait, and so, yeah, exactly. And where are the forensics
Credibility.
in this case? When I get to trial, by the way, I pick a good jury, a jury that likes him, remembers him as the likable doctor.
So
in the
older
show.
people.
Older people, exactly.
You're gonna try.
I can try that. And then you say...
So this is going to be like O.J. Simpson. This trial is going to be like O.J. Are there cameras in a courtroom? Do we know?
This is a state case, so there may be cameras in the courtroom.
Okay,
Not
because it's
federal.
going to be like
doubt
O.J.
it.
Simpson.
Right.
It's going to be
But
amazing.
I'd also argue no forensics.
There'd be a
Where are the
motion to
forensics in
exclude.
this?
All right, well, don't
Nothing.
get to it. You're not hired yet.
Oh, I don't want to
We're not going to try this on TV. We want to tell everybody that it's a very complicated situation.
It is complicated.
That could go either way, and it will be like the O.J. Simpson
I'd rather
case.
prosecute it than defend it, to be honest.
I would.
Ladies, thank
We did
you.
our best.